Okay, so I wanted to just discuss with the team what I've done so far and kind of where we're at. So essentially, we have two PGF files, and recall what we're trying to do is create grids from two different PGF files. We have two cases here. The brown PGF data right here represent where we have values that are set to 1, and that's listed right here, and the purple are where we have these guys set to 2, a value of 2. So there's just two values that we're dealing with. There are two different PGF files that we're working with. We have an input 1 and we have an input 2. You can see the only thing that's changed is that in some of these we've changed our 1s to 2s. So recall before these tops were brown. Okay? Now I wanted to simplify this, so what I did was I just made a finite difference grid according to these dimensions right here. They're listed right here. They're essentially 20 by 20 foot cells, and there's 7 rows and 13 columns. Because we were instructed that there were not many examples for cell computation, I took our data, which was cell data, and I converted it to node data. So if we were to go here, we'll see that this is our grid 1, which is listed right here. And then same thing for grid 2, which will look different. So the object here is to compare the two grids, and where one nodal or eventually cell value is greater than the other, the greater value floats to the top. So the end product should look something like this. And again, just to kind of belabor the point here, this is 1, and once we run the procedure, we would expect that wherever there was a value of 2, that is the higher value in the comparison grid, that one gets assigned the value. So the Python script for this is really simple, but it's a straight comparison. But the issue here is that the issue I'm having is that this seems to be sort of a Boolean operation. That is, once a comparison is made and it evaluates to true or false, once the data is set to that value, it's done. It goes on to the next iteration. It's almost as if it doesn't go any further. So I've isolated one case at a time. That's how I'm doing this. So, and right here, I was actually able to isolate just one case. This is the case where our comparison grid, that is grid 2, is greater than grid 1. And you can kind of see this where they've changed to purple and been created, those cells change. You then have to, or so far, the only way I've been able to isolate the second case is to do it just independently. So here's the case right here where essentially there's no change. And that's a separate script. It basically says, look, if grid 1 is equal to grid 2, then just set those data values equal there. And when we turn both of these on at the same time, we do arrive at the desired output. That is, it took two separate operations to do it, but we have essentially two separate grids that look like they're one grid, but they're really not. These are two separate products that are just, they're kind of Lego-like, they're just kind of fit together. For whatever reason, and I don't understand this yet, whenever I try to combine the operations, it just doesn't work, and it's got to be something that I'm just misunderstanding. So here's the combined case, but what's happening here is it's only catching where they're equal. It's not catching where they're equal and then also catching the scenario where one grid is greater than the other. It's almost like you can't combine an if-else statement that says, okay, if this condition's true, set the data value. If it's not true, go on and set this value. This is kind of where I'm at. I know this is a clunky explanation for this. I'm kind of going with this logic right here and actually trying to combine these two things into one element, and it won't successfully show this. Whenever I try to run the combined components, it does nothing, and it has something to do with these values being set, and I have a feeling that this has to be set somewhere in the in one of the set modules for one of the components that occur in the node computation. And so it's taken me a really long time just to get to this. So I think this can be done, but it's really going to take some more playing around with it on my part to try to get this all fit together. And I really would rather do it in a cell environment, not the node environment. But I just wanted to give you guys an update and let you know kind of where I'm at.